All right, so take two, back from break. As I was just telling you guys, for the end of the class, we only got about like an hour left to the end of class, and I wanted to cover. I got a lot of stuff to cover for your midterm. All right. Um, what we want to do here with this, from here is, I would sit here for another like 2-3 hours, like sculpting out like the little bits and details and things that I'd like to see in the face. Unfortunately, like I said, due to the class, I don't really have the time to do it. So I just want to show you guys how to start thinking about getting like the really high level details into here. Okay? So getting the really high level details into here, again, we look at the picture and we can see like the lines of definition and things like in here. He's got some like moles and stuff like that. But again, when we think about people's skin, there's actually like skin pores and like the way the wrinkles go. All right? Generally, I know I had said in the beginning of the class, we'd come in and like, you even take your standard brush, right? BST, grab a drag, select, and then you can pick out some, like an alpha, right? So say I had this alpha here. You come in and you can start to like lay out some alphas. Probably want to do it in holding Alt. And it's like, oh, look at my alphas. These are amazing, right? These are the default like Zbrush ones. Again, another good place to look for just like already pre-done alphas is if we go to Pixelogic's actual website, Pixelogic alphas, right? You can just kind of Google search this. They have a download center for Pixelogic, and up on here, right? They just have like a library of alphas. All right, these are basic alphas. Another place you can search too is if you just go to like Pinterest, okay, and just type in ZBrush alpha. A lot of people have gone through and made like ZBrush alphas and things for stuff, and you can find alphas on here, okay, that are decent. I've done it before. I like to do it for the ones that are like this kind of thing, which would be like the like mesh clothing and stuff. Because it just makes it easier. People already kind of have them done. It's this one is this one is this one is this one, so on and so forth. But again, making your own custom ones is very helpful when you're doing this. Okay. One of the things that I like to do, I should probably save this too. So we'll just save it as Orc2. Saved it so many times. Save often, save incrementally. We're just saving the tool too, because I don't like at this point. I don't really need like all the undo history and stuff like that. And again, you can see like my mind's like, oh, I gotta go fix that little bit there. So I'm like using the damn standard brush. But to make your own custom alphas, one of the ways that you can do it that's nice. If we come into like Photoshop, there's Encito's thing. Come into Photoshop, and what we can do is you can find like stuff that you're looking for. Okay, we need skin wrinkles, right? So up on my favorite website to search for things, up on Pinterest, I'm just going to go ahead and copy a picture, right? And hopefully be able to paste it here, which doesn't look like it. So, and it's not going to let me save it. So maybe this one. Usually you can just copy the image and paste it in Photoshop. There we go. Just paste it in Photoshop. You can see this one's already black and white, right? And we're like, I'm like, bam, done. There's my alpha, right? And then I just put it in there, and now I've got this guy. And if I drew it out, you can see the guy's face on my person's face. This isn't what we're trying to do. Right? So I'm going to take a lasso, and I'm going to look for the part that I want. All right? And I like this thing right here, this section. So I'm just going to lasso this out. Okay? I'm going to copy it. I'm going to paste it onto another layer. I'm going to take this one, double click, take this one, throw it out, and now we've got that alpha there, or this piece right here. Okay? We want to take up more of this actual picture here, so I'm just going to take this. Ooh. Like that, and then just kind of get it in here. Okay, One of the other things I'm going to do is I'm going to double click the background here, make the background black. Alright, and then what we can do is if I just left this, it would give us like a really weird kind of alpha going here. One of the things we can do is we can select this, go up to select, and I'm just going to go ahead and feather it, and it gives me an amount of pixels. I'm going to do 30, right? So it feathers 30 pixels in. Control Shift I will select the inverse, and we just kind of delete this a couple times, and it'll have like a nice fade to the edge. Okay. The other thing that I probably should have did this first, is under Image Adjustments, you can do levels or curves depending on like, you know, your preference to this. But what we want to do is we kind of want to get the things. I like levels better. It's just easier for me to think about. I'm not good at the curve stuff. So I usually just come to levels and then mess with this little slider here. Okay? And this will give us the overall tonality that we want. Like, hopefully by now, in all your guys' classes here, you've heard the old saying, white reveals, black conceals, right? That's the same with this. So the things, but it's more in the sense of what's black on this will go in. What's white will come out. Okay? I'm just trying to get rid of it, like soften up that edge a bit more. So again, because I want that. Okay? So we just come in here and we're just going to go ahead and save it as. Again, you can make your own, just make your own folder. So mine's my digital sculpting one here. And I'm just going to go ahead and make a folder, and I'm just going to call this alphas. If I could spell. Alpha. Alpaz. There we go, right? That's how you spell it. Alpaz. Alphas. And we're just going to call this wrinkle 1. I saved it out as a Photoshop file. The other thing that I kind of messed up here is this is going to be a really big file. Like generally, you know, you don't need like 1024 for an alpha. Like 512, 256 will be fine. Okay, so that's one down, right? And again, I've just got a bunch of pictures of random old people because they got nice skin wrinkles and stuff. So we can just go ahead and I'm just gonna hide this layer. Whoop, didn't mean to click on that. I'm gonna copy this image and paste it in there. Again, what are the parts that I like of this picture? Okay, I like this. Okay, so I'm going to copy paste that in. Also, I'm going to grab, I like this. This is a good picture for this. And then I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out, and I've got these two skin wrinkles, right? So we just go ahead and hide this. Take this one, and again, it's kind of small, so we'll just scale it up. Freeform transform. All right. One of the other things I'm going to do real quick is I'm just going to come to my image size, and instead of 1024, I'm just going to put it down to like 512. That should be good for this. So we'll just do 512. And again, I can even come in and take a circle marquee or ellipse marquee in layman's terms. And circle marquee out like this part, Control Shift I, delete that, Control D to get rid of the actual selection. And then I'm just going to increase the size of this a bit so that it takes up more of this. Okay, and again, what we want to do here is I'm just going to come back to the image adjustments. I'm going to go to my levels because I like levels better, and I'm going to kind of. The other thing is right now there's a bit of pigmentation to it. It's not straight black and white. So what we want to do is Control Shift U will desaturate it, because if you desaturate picture, it has no color, right? So we're just going to come in and go back to levels, and now I can adjust this. And again, I'm trying to push the highlights out and kind of put the other things in. Okay, and again, maybe just take our circle marquee, select them there, selection, and we'll just go ahead and feather it again. 30 is probably the Control Shift I. Alright, so there's another alpha. We'll go ahead and save this as wrinkle 2. Save as wrinkle 2. Right. Again, you can find like tons of faces with nice wrinkles, like this one's awesome. And again, you want to just come in and make your own. See, she's got like tons of those nice like skin wrinkles in there. She's got like good, this is good for pores, like skin pores right here on the edge of her nose. And these are the things you can actually find skin. This works pretty good for stuff. There's a close-up picture of skin. Again, this is all you do, guys. Just come up and start finding pictures of this stuff. And it sounds, yeah, that's great. Find like things like this. And then you push and pull the values. Again, that just comes back to the adjustments. And we'll do like levels. Now you can kind of like adjust the levels in and out. And like this would be our alpha in here, or this. And we can use these in ZBrush to really kind of like make our painting look a lot better. Okay. Again, I'm going to use that one old lady's nose. This one. So I'm just going to come in and grab her nose. Got your nose. Right? Copy paste it. I'll hide that layer. Hide the other layer that I have. Control T. Scale this up. Hopefully we can get a good scaling out of this, because again, like, depends on the quality of your picture as well. So we just have something like this. I take my circle marquee, you know, hold shift so it's like a nice circle. Try to get as good as I can inside of this actual thing. Control Shift I, delete. There's that. I can go back in, grab the select again, just do the feather. And you guys, I'll show you why the feather is kind of important to do this with. Alright? I mean, it's not the end of the world important, but it definitely is kind of important. Again, Control L, do my levels, because right now, like, the whites and stuff are too bright. So we need to kind of, like, sort of even this out. See how it kind of evens that back out there? So we're just going to even that back out, and we're just going to call this one pores. Yeah. Pores. Pores. Okay. Coming back into ZBrush with our awesome alphas that we've made. I'm going to go back to my standard brush, this guy right here. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and click on the alpha. Click on the alpha, and then I'm just going to go ahead to my alphas, and I'm going to import it. I'm going to import the pores first. Okay. And what this is going to do is this is going to give us our skin pores in here. Look at that. Alright, you guys are like, wow, you messed up your model. Good job. The main thing is the intensity is kind of high on this, so I'm going to bring the intensity down. And you can see that from that old lady's nose, look at that. Awesome, right? I'm going to do it the opposite way. It kind of comes out. Probably needs to be a little bit more intense. Maybe like 10. And the Z intensity, right? And, you know, different places have like different, you know, your skin pores show up in different places. Again, some people have that nice smooth skin. I am not one of those people. Okay, and again, it comes back to your level of detail. We can actually do this at this point, because at this point we're not really going to be dynameshing too much. When you start getting into adding skin pores and stuff like that, you're not going to dynamesh much anymore, right? So we can actually just divide, okay, and it went up to 5 million, right? So we got a good amount now. Just for the face, like 5 million is pretty high, all right? For just the face, like you can go higher, but 5 million is pretty good. So I'm just going to come in here holding Alt and just start sculpting in these skin pores, right? Maybe 10's a bit too much, so I'm gonna maybe 6. And I'm just drawing it out as I go, right? Overlapping it a bit from one to the other, drawing bigger and smaller. You know, and your pressure sensitivity is still on this too, so you can really push this if you want. And again, it's still asymmetrical because your skin pores aren't the same from one side to the other. Okay, again though, if you're like doing like a game character, sometimes it's not going to really matter, depending on like how low res, like phone games at this point, probably not so much like console or PC, you know, because those can handle some decent texture files and whatnot. So just coming in and adding some skin pores in with this. And the other thing we could do is you'd probably want to do the other one first, what I'm about to do. That, and I can come back and I'm just kind of smoothing, and I'm just super light, guys, super light on this, just kind of touching in here, okay? Super light on the brush, and you can see how it adds the nice details up there, right, to where this stuff would be. Smoothing back just a touch so it's not so rough. Okay, cool. So again, we can come in, and I usually just use the standard brush because it works out pretty good. I can come in here and grab like that first wrinkle that we made, right? That guy's forehead wrinkle, and we can play with it and see how this works. So I'm just going to start out at a high intensity, and instead of holding Alt, let's just kind of bring that in there. Maybe that's a little too high for the intensity, so let's just come back. And just doing that, you know, it starts to add in those details, and we can even push how these work later on, right? So it's just getting in here, putting these on. Maybe grab that other alpha as well. Try wrinkle 2. I think this one should be deeper. So let's, woo! Look at that, super deep. If I smooth it back, I don't like it. Again, you won't always like the alphas that you make and whatnot. I think it's just too intense, so we can even maybe go to the alpha. Nah. We'd have to do it in see, up in the mid value gives you that seam. I mean, the seam is pretty easy to get rid of, but you can see that it's not really, it needs to be more consistent throughout on that alpha, because it's not. Needs to be something more like this. But we need it in ZBrush. There we go. Right? So you can start to see that it gives like that nice skin patterning. And again, be surprised, you can use like the same thing over and over again. But what you want to do is, alright, so just a quick overview of what I just did there. Okay? You can see the patterning of how this is going here, right? What I try to do is you can see that my alpha kind of follows a pattern on that. So again, I can kind of bring in and follow that line. See it? The line that follows. So again, you can turn it a bit. I'm using the same alpha over and over again, but I'm kind of like following like a flow to it. And just even then, like after you're done, you can come in with like something like an inflate brush or something and sculpt on top of what you've done. The inflate will kind of like push and pull the cavities and whatnot. Okay? Know thine brushes. Alright, and sometimes the material that we're using isn't always the best to view this stuff. You know, maybe we switch to this one and view how it's looking on a nice, like, waxy kind of shiny surface. Right? You can see, like, what's happening here. It almost looks like wrinkled paper, which probably isn't the best, so we'll just kind of smooth it back a bit. You know, maybe we overdid that whole thing. Come back in with the clay buildup. Kind of touch some of these spots up a bit. And in our reference, right, he had a nice mole on his cheek. You can look up, you know, you go Pinterest again and do facial mole. And maybe you find a good picture that you can make an alpha out of. Okay? More than likely not. So what I kind of like to do with this is the same kind of method for this, right? You just come in and I found that this works pretty good. If you come in here, there's like this alpha, right? Pretty much, it's either this one or there's like another circular one that looks like that, right? And what you can do with it is if the intensity is a bit higher, you can come in and do one of these, maybe even a little bit higher than and it'll make this like nice little bumpy ridge like this. You just kind of come back and fade it back a bit. Again, I should probably have my picture open so I'm making sure that's in the right area. Let's see. More up here. And then there's another, it's got a little friend with it. I don't like the positioning. So again, you know, it's just, this is the attention to detail part, guys. Like, it's coming out of like, there's this one, then this one, and it comes out like right here, and then its happy little friend is like right here. Come back with your smooth, touch very gently, and you start to get that, right? Again, paying attention to that picture. He's got another one up in the corner of his head here. No, another down over here. Maybe less intense, so it's more like a kind of rounded blemishy one. Too much. Right? Kind of cruise around my picture a little bit, look for possible other spots. Something like that. Okay. Maybe even just like lower the intensity on this a bunch, because this brush will probably work pretty good for doing stuff like this. Like right in here, there's some like pocking in his face. Push and pull. Okay. Again, at this level of detail, we can even come in and kind of maybe tighten up this crease a bit. Use that pinch brush. Tighten up that crease. Again, I have this is a different material. This is the Roma Clay Green. Okay. It's good to see like kind of like a shinier surface for this sometimes. And again, I'm just coming back to these places where we have like the cut. And, you know, I keep telling you guys, like, I could spend hours doing this. I mean, just all day. 8-10 hours just to make it look to the point where you're like, it looks real, right? Because that's what we're striving for. You know, you want it to really look like your concept art. You know, the guy who provided the concept art, I wish I had written down his name. I can, you know, be like, this is the dude. But if you post it up on, you know, I've been trying to post this stuff up on ArtStation and whatnot. But you want it so that if you do post it up on ArtStation and the guy who did the concept art sees it, he's like, damn, dude, that's freaking awesome. You know? You don't want them all mad at you, like, what are you doing with stuff? It's good practice, but, you know? And again, like, I could spend hours doing this, but what I need to do, unfortunately, instead of spending the hours that I'd like to on this, is I need to push forward to finish up what you guys are going to need for for your midterms, right? So from here, you know, I'd have all like the crown and all that stuff in there from the picture, but for right now, and I'd still need to do this whole other side of the face, but we're going to concentrate on this side of the face. Is the only thing that exists right now. Right? Whoa, too much. But what we can start doing from here, okay, after we're like, oh man, this is the most amazing sculpt I've ever done, which hopefully everybody in here is like, this is the most amazing sculpt that you've ever done when you turn in your midterm. You know, coming in here going, Fulton, I didn't really have the time over the weekend to complete it the way that I wanted to. It's, you know, it's do your best on this stuff, guys. That's why, like, for homework, I'm not going to give you guys a sculpt every day. Instead, I'm just going to give you like 2 to do over the weekend on top of your midterm, right? 2 like quick busts and whatnot to do. I'll fix the neck skin later, but for now, what we want to do is I'm just going to come in here and again, you want to go ahead and add like colors to this stuff on here, right? So picking the colors that you want, we're just going to come in and throw this like matte cap white on here. And the first thing I want to do is I'm just going to come up the color and I'm going to fill the object, right? And oh wait, forgot about that. So let me undo what I just did, right? Turn off Z add, and this is on RGB right now. We need to do RGBM, but I'm just going to do RGB for right now. And I'm going to go color, fill object. Since it's at 100 intensity, now if I change the color, it doesn't turn that color. Okay? And what we want to do, since we're trying to paint this like photoreal, it's not like the stylized thing that we did before. Stylized, you can just kind of like start off with a dark color and build upon it. If we're trying to do photorealistic, like there's like pieces of skin and like the fatty tissue, kind of like the color shows through, and like the blood that you have in your face and whatnot. So what we want to do here is we want to start with like color, like pretty much color paletting, and it's going to look really weird at first. I'm going to come in with my clay buildup. It's one of my favorites to just kind of fill this in. A lot of times you'll see people come in with that standard brush, go to like a spray and turn off the alpha, and I just come in with a spray. It's on turn down the intensity too, and you just kind of like color it in, okay? And the spray will make a bunch of dots. If you put on color spray, you get like the foreground and background color a lot of times in here. But I'm just going to come in and, again, you know, why the hell are you painting it yellow? And again, this is one of those things where you leave off the symmetry. Okay, so we don't really want the symmetry on here. And I'm just going to kind of like fill in a yellow here and there. Just kind of coming in and hueing in the yellow in some of the places. And again, he's not like straight up flesh tone, so we kind of need to make like a darker, almost red flesh tone. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come in, I'm going to grab purple, right? More like a burgundy-ish purple. Maybe something like that. I'm just looking at the color palette here. Again, if you want to see a bigger color palette, you can always just kind of like pull this out over here. Just go to color. Helps to put it in the right place. Come on. Come on. And put it over here. And now you got all your color swatches over here. You can even go to the modifiers so you can see it more like this instead of the square with the thing. Alright, and I'm just going to come in here with this. And I'm going to lightly, see I'm not like purple, okay? I'm going to lightly come in on top of my yellow and start brushing in on top of the yellow, okay? It's probably a little bit too bright of a yellow also, so probably want more like a yellow like this. So it's not super yellow like it is. You can see if I push real hard, it kind of like pulls a bunch of colors and whatnot. So I'm just gonna come back and kind of get that yellow, so it's not like pea yellow. It's more like almost like a skin tone yellow. And this one I'm just gonna kind of fill for the most part in here. For right now. So that's kind of like my base color starting in. Fill in the mouth or whatever. And again, I'm just going to come back to that that purpley color, like a maroon purpley. Purpley. It's a technical term, right? So again, it's coming in here and lightly going to start brushing in. And this purple is going to be a lot around the eyes here. A bit around the ears. The jawline. Ear again, a little bit too much. I'll just copy it on the other side. Again, I'm not given the luxury of time. I got 20 minutes to kind of pump something out here. A lot of times it'll follow like these creases where the cuts are. The nose, get a little bit of that purple. It's generally where the sagging of the face is here. Okay. Right, so we start to end up with something like this. Okay. And again, places of bruising. Put a little bit more on the lips here. Too much on the lips. A little bit more on the lips. Just like I said, in the little allotted time that I have, I'm going to try to get out something fairly decent. You can start to see that just doing this with this standard brush and filling some of the stuff in. Again, the neck's going to have a good majority of like this purple, because your neck's actually a lot darker than the rest of your face. And what I want to do is just come in, and now is where I start to kind of go. We've kind of got like a darker flesh tone in here. Okay. And we can start to come in with this the darker red flesh tone. And again, I'm going to try to emphasize lightly start to fill it in. I'm gonna switch. V switches back and forth, right? I'm gonna switch, and what I'm gonna do is, if you push C, see how I pick that color? Like C will pick whatever color is underneath the mouse. Okay. So with that in mind, I'm just gonna come in and grab that with C, and I'm gonna kind of come up to a lighter flesh tone. All right, and where the skin starts to get a little bit lighter here. Again, I'm just going to come in real lightly. I find that little circles paints very well. Okay. It's kind of probably hard to see, but I'm doing this. Like if you watch the actual brush, it's going around in little circles as I paint. Okay, and I'm pushing real light. And what this is going to do is it's going to hopefully grab like a lot of the undertone from this. Okay, just grabbing the undertone and kind of filling on top of this. And again, like right in here, there's going to be a lot of that red, the deeper red. So I'm just going to push V, switch back to my deeper red, and just kind of go and fill that in a little bit better in here. Okay, and then go back to the lighter color for higher up on the cheek. Again, right here will probably end up being really light. So I'm just going to kind of come in, because we've already got that yellow there, which should brighten this up a bit, because where the skin's close to the bone there. So we'll just kind of come in and fill that back a bit. This is going to sound funny, but a lot of times like I come back to here and I'll just push in like the color, right? The two colors. It's like my palette from Photoshop. So it's like, oh, I need that color again. And I just go back and grab it. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch to my lighter color and grab like this sort of yellowy thing that I did here. So that I can really just kind of like hammer in the cheek a bit. But you know, you guys can start to see like how quickly, hopefully, that this starts to kind of take shape as far as the colors go, right? Like this area in here starts to really show the colors that we picked. And again, you just kind of come in with that red, and since we have that purple base with the red, you fill that in, and it kind of grabs the color a bit better. Come back with the that lighter color for the little bits right here. And I'm just using V to switch back and forth. Okay. So come in, fill some of this stuff back a bit. The ears, your ears are generally like, you know, a lot of blood in your ear. So we'll just come back and fill this in with that darker red. And again, guys, I'm not like mashing on the brush. Like, believe it or not, I'm pushing fairly lightly, and this is how it's filling in. You know, I think, personally, I think the key to this is the little circles. Okay? It's like hard to get used to, but once you get it with the little circles, like a lot of brushes work better if you just do like little circles like this. And like I said, at first it's like weird to like look at, because you're like, Did you see it? He painted him yellow. You know? But that yellow tone underneath this, kind of like as you paint, will help blend that like orangey color that you have. Like you can already kind of see the projector's a little bit yellow here comparative to what I had. So it's a little bit different. So, but again, like this whole thing kind of, you just come back with the lighter color and add that in. And maybe in some point here, you know, color pick off of this. And just start adding this back in, right? Maybe this nice purpley color here. That little bit of purple will help define this in. And again, just like what I was saying with the sculpting and the detail, like this is another one of those things where I could sit here for hours just painting this. Okay? Like this process takes just about as long as the sculpting of it, in my opinion. And again, we have that nice purple. So what I'm going to do first is build upon the purple with my lighter color. Okay, so I'm going to take my lighter color and just kind of come in and fill on top of that. And you can see it gives me like that nice blended kind of color there. And then I'm going to come in with my darker. I'm going to hit this jawline because, again, generally like where your jaw meets your neck, like the color is deeper right here around people's necks. So it's the back and forth of this. So you build dark and then add on top of it. The purple base will help kind of blend the colors together. We still have like that a little bit of neon yellow underneath here, so it's the yellow is all right to have. It's just, you know, you eventually want to blend it out so you don't see the yellow so prevalent, because you know you don't see yellow in people's faces unless they're like jaundiced, you know. You guys are like, what does jaundice mean? It's a liver disease. Whoop, too much. And it's like I said, like you can see the base colors that I painted in here bleeding through, right? But at the same time, we have the colors that I'm painting on top of it, okay? Which is what we want. Maybe take our nice purple here. I'm going to use the clay buildup real quick. Because I want to get I laugh because like the one time I did like this, we were doing like these carnival people for like a sideshow kind of game thing that we were gonna make, and I had to do the girl that stood on the knife wheel, where the guy throws the knife at her, and I had to do the makeup. And I'm like, man, I'm actually pretty good at doing women's makeup. It gets kind of weird. Well, at least painting it in here. I'm sure in real life I'm like, You're beautiful. You look like a 9-year-old got into mom's freaking makeup thing. So again, like, you know, I'm adding this purple base, but we got to add on top of the purple base. There'd be a lot more detail in the lips as well that would have been sculpted out. For like getting in the lines, just like how we carved in there, the damn standard brush. Turn off the Z and then turn on the RGB and come in and kind of just take it. It draws a line. Like, think of this one more like a pen for painting, you know? And the other thing that you can do too is holding shift, just turn off Z add. And what that'll do is it'll smooth the paint, right? So it's not so rough in some of the areas. So again too, a lot of times what I like to do is try to grab like a darker color, maybe even fade it darker, and you can come in to these cracks and stuff and just kind of hit them with that damn standard real quick. And smooth it back. This is one way to do it. To get the details of the cracks. And again, like, sometimes it's a little too dark, and what you can just do real quick is, you know, come back to your standard brush with a lighter color and just kind of paint over it lightly. Emphasis on lightly, and that'll kind of fade the cracks back in the face. Yeah, it's like really yellow on there. It's kind of strange. Like, if you look at my monitor, it's not that yellow. And this really is just, you know, look at your picture. You can even import the photograph into here to pick the surface colors. Okay? One of the things that you don't want to do too heavily, though, is when you're looking at your picture, don't like straight up like, see this like color here? You don't want to paint that color in, because that color is a specular highlight, guys. Okay? It's like the grease on his face is reflecting the light in the painting. But, you know, the lighter color here might be a better choice to pick to paint that. Okay? Beard and mustache has like a darker color because of the stubble. Alright? And again, like, right now my color's off. Like, it needs to be a lot more red than this. It's like I said, you laugh, but that's, you know, you can even make a poly plane, like off to the side, and save like a color palette. The stuff we do, right? Sometimes it involves thinking outside the box. Okay, what I was going to say before to like get the like cracks and stuff, just to cover it like super quick. If you go to masking, okay, you can mask by all different kinds of types. All right, one of the most best ones, yeah. One of the better ones for this is to mask by cavity, and if you look, it kind of gets all the cracks in its face, right? So what you can do is you can invert the mask, and then you can paint. Okay. So if I had like my clay buildup brush and I just came in and like darkly painted here, and then I unshowed the mask, you can see that it paints in like that. And you guys are like, oh man, that's great. You know, awesome to see that you can paint on top of a mask. if you click view on the mask, it turns the view of the mask off, but it leaves, see how it's only painting in that mask? And you can smooth back over the top of that. So we get those skin pores in there. Okay? And again, like, yeah, he's a bit yellow still. He needs a little bit of work getting that yellow out of there. I mainly focused on this place. Again, invert the mask, hide the view of the mask. I find the H polish works miracles for like high points. It paints high points very well. It's because of the way that the brush profile is set up. I know the Control H, that's what it is. I was like, I know there's a hotkey for it. And so, you know, you get a little bit of blending to the colors. Maybe unmask it. But this is the kind of stuff that you'd be looking at. And again, like, looking at it like this isn't exactly the best. Probably the best one to kind of like view it is the skin shade. Because it kind of gives you more or less like a skin material. And you'll see the highlights and stuff like that. It's hard to paint in this view though. Okay. And again, it looks so yellow up there. But again, ignoring the yellow. Wish you guys could see what I see. I wonder if I get rid of the yellow, if the projector will show it a little bit better. You know? So you get something more along these lines for like hand painting it. Okay? Makes sense? Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And you just finish poly painting it, right? And what we're going to do for the midterm here, okay? Obviously, you want to finish it, and you want to position this the best you can for the view that you're trying to emulate. Turn on perspective, right? And we can either do a turntable, which I'd rather not do a turntable for the bust. I'd rather have it from the view that you're trying to emulate for the most part. And all you're going to do is just come in under render, turn on best quality, and BPR it. Okay. We can actually fix the shadow. Huh? I think I want to say it's the angle. If you up the angle a bit, it should soften the shadow so it's not like just straight line. Yeah, see how we get more of a fade. And again, the higher the angle, it's just like rendering at a mental ray. You know what I mean? So if we up the angle, maybe here, it'd be like a nice soft light, because this is like it's a harsh light. Right, you can see you got a nice soft shadow now. Probably a little bit too soft, so back to render, maybe put it at 20. Yeah, I mean that's decent. It's a little like fuddly down here. But what we can do is from here, you're just going to go ahead and take this render under BPR passes, and we want the shaded one. Shaded. Right? Be shaded 3/4, and then you at least want the mask. Okay? Again, I would have did out the eye and the teeth and all that good stuff had I had the time to do this. The other thing that we want to do is we want a front view. We want a side view. I don't need the back view, just front and side, both sides, and then the 3/4. All right, and it's just going to be put together how we put the other one together. Pretty sure that's what it says up on the up on canvas, right? If it doesn't, this is what I want. I'll retype it out if I remember. And again, you just go to Photoshop with this, and probably not a square one. You probably want something more along these lines. Get these two files. What I would do is with this one first, just take this and drag it into here. The only issue that I always have is it like wants to clip this off. So a lot of times what you can do is select all, right? Copy it, paste it, and it just puts it right in there. Okay? You can actually, where you want to paste it in, is right there, in the alpha channel, right? Because what that'll do is allow you to select it as an alpha. Go back to your RGB, Control-Shift-I, delete it, well, on the correct layer. right? So if there was a layer behind this, the stupid alpha channel isn't showing, you know, we'd have this. But now that this one's on a nice alpha, we just click drag it in here. Okay? So for the composition of this, I want this as the main focus of this. Okay? So see how this is right here like this? My turned ones would be on this side. So again, my background's probably, you know, don't give me a freaking white background, because it, like, you never really do absolute values like white and black, because you lose the value of stuff as it goes through, like the shadows and stuff. So again, I usually will pick like this dark gray here, right? And then maybe like a lighter gray. So we'll pick the dark gray and then lighten it up a bit. Go to your gradient. I usually put it on like the flare and do one of these. Something like that. Okay? And then what we can do from here, again, you'd have your other pictures brought in the same way. So we'd have like my front view, my side view, right? What else do you think should be here? They'd probably be a little bit bigger than this, the front and side view. You don't need a back view. Unless there's like levels of detail in the back view, I don't need it. You know, like there's like a ridged head and a spine sticking out or something like that. But other than that, I don't need it. Make it so you can read your name. And there you go. Right? I can see it. Thing. You have your two views, and it's laid out. It shows me your skull. The other thing that I'm going to need, all right, is your ZTL. I don't want a ZPR because it would be like a pig. I need your ZTL folder or file. So what you're going to do for your midterm is the same thing you do for every class that I teach you how to do. There's going to be a folder with your name on it, right? Inside that folder will be the ZTL and the Photoshop folder. Okay? And I would like a copy of the reference picture that you did as well. Okay? Cool? Again, it doesn't have to be grade scale. You can make it a different color. Just, you know, please, you know, use design skills, guys. We're supposed to be artists. Like, don't give me fucking hot pink with like yellow text. You know what I mean? Like, you guys laugh. That's all I gotta say, man. You laugh. But it's, you know, I'll have like purple with like straight blue. And it's like, if you've ever seen that. Like, yeah, I'll throw it up there if you want. This is my favorite thing ever, right? Ready? People be like this. And then they'll come in and be like, I gotta type my name. Bam. And then I gotta look at this. And I'm like, my eyes. You know? So again, you know, be mindful, guys. Use your design skills. Okay? I'm always of the keep it simple, right? Because like honestly, like I hate to say it like this, but I'm not good at design. So I keep it simple. You know what I mean? Like bam, base. Why? Because simple is easy. Simple usually looks good, right? There you go. And that's that. That's, you know, we run over time actually, so.